Hey everyone, and welcome back to Colonial Chronicles Revolutionary Minds. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben. And if you can't tell, we are absolutely pumped today because we're diving into the life of perhaps the most important figure in the entire American Revolution.
You got it, Ben. We are talking about the one, the only, General George Washington. It's almost impossible to imagine the United States existing without him.
Seriously, like picture this. You're trying to start a new country, you've got basically no money, very few trained soldiers, and you're going up against the mightiest army in the world. Who do you call? George Washington.
Exactly. And what's cool is he wasn't born into some royal family or with a general's uniform already on. He started pretty humbly, right, Ben?
Totally. Born in 1732 in Virginia, he wasn't like a city kid. He grew up on farms, learned about surveying land, which is basically mapping out plots of ground, and was an amazing horseman. He didn't have a fancy college degree, but he learned by doing.
And that doing really kicked into high gear during the French and Indian War. This was way before the Revolution, but it was like his training ground, wasn't it?
Absolutely. He was pretty young, but he got a taste of military life. He wasn't always successful. He made mistakes, but he showed real bravery. There's this story about him in the Battle of Monongahela, where he had 2 horses shot out under him and 4 bullet holes in his coat, but he was totally unharmed. It's like he was destined for something big. It taught him what it was like to command men and what it was like to face a really tough enemy.
Which was super important because fast forward a few years and suddenly the colonies are really fed up with British rule. Taxes, no representation, things are boiling over. And when they finally decide, okay, we're going to fight for our freedom, who does the Continental Congress pick to lead this brand new ragtag army?
Washington. It's such a bold move. They're going up against the most powerful military on earth, and they pick a Virginia farmer and former colonial officer. But it turned out to be the smartest choice they could have made. He had this quiet strength and a reputation for integrity.
Yeah, and he needed every ounce of that strength. People talk about the battles, but honestly, just keeping the Continental Army together was a battle in itself. They barely had any food, warm clothes, or even shoes sometimes. Can you imagine trying to fight in the dead of winter with frostbite?
Oh, the stories from Valley Forge, Alex, they're brutal. That winter of 1777 to 1778 was horrific. Thousands of soldiers got sick, and many died from disease and exposure. But Washington was there, suffering with them. He shared their hardships, and that made his men trust him and stick with him. He could have just let the army melt away, but he refused.
And that refusal to give up, even when things looked impossible, is what makes him so legendary. He wasn't always winning, especially early on. He lost New York, he retreated a lot, but he knew how to pick his moments. And Ben, you know what I'm thinking about next, don't you?
Oh, I know what you're thinking about, Alex. We have to talk about the Christmas crossing of the Delaware. This is one of the most brilliant moves of the war.
Tell us, Ben, for our battle enthusiasts.
Okay, so it's late 1776. Things are looking bleak for the Americans. Washington's army is shrinking. Morale is low. He knows he needs a victory to keep the revolution alive. So, on Christmas night, 1776, in the middle of a freezing storm, he decides to cross the icy Delaware River with his troops. Think about it. Horses, cannons, hundreds of men all on rickety boats in a blizzard.
It's insane. And what happens next?
They march to Trenton, New Jersey, and launch a surprise attack on the Hessian soldiers, these German mercenaries fighting for the British, who were probably recovering from Christmas festivities. The Hessians are totally caught off guard. It's a massive American victory.
And it was a huge morale boost. Suddenly, people believed again that they could actually win this thing. Then just a few days later, he pulls off another clever move at Princeton, tricking the British and winning again. These 2 victories totally turned the tide of the war.
Fast forward a few years, and after more tough fighting, more brilliant maneuvers, and a lot of help from our French allies, we get to the final decisive battle, Yorktown, in 1781.
Yorktown. This is where it all comes together. Washington, with his American and French forces, traps the main British army under General Cornwallis on a peninsula in Virginia.
It's a perfect siege. The French fleet blocks any escape by sea, and Washington's combined forces besiege them from land. Cornwallis is surrounded, nowhere to go. After weeks of fighting, he has no choice but to surrender.
And when Cornwallis surrenders his sword, it's basically the end of the major fighting in the Revolutionary War, a huge victory for Washington and for America. But what I love about Washington is what he did after the war.
This is the truly amazing part. After winning the war, everyone assumed he'd want to be king or at least rule for life, but Washington instead simply resigned his commission and went home to his farm at Mount Vernon.
It's so powerful. It showed the world that America wasn't going to be like the old monarchies. Power belonged to the people, and leaders served the people, not themselves.
And then, a few years later, when they needed a leader to guide the new country under its new constitution, who did they unanimously elect as the first president?
George Washington, of course. And he set so many precedents, traditions, that future presidents would follow, like serving only 2 terms, for example. He created the cabinet, and he showed that a strong, fair government could work in a republic.
He literally built the blueprint for the American presidency. He could have been president for life, but he believed in the principles of liberty and self-government so strongly that he stepped down. That's true leadership.
Absolutely. So whether you're thinking about him braving the cold at Valley Forge, leading that daring charge across the Delaware, or calmly laying the groundwork for the presidency, George Washington's impact is just colossal. He wasn't perfect, no one is, but his courage, determination, and commitment to the idea of a free America were absolutely essential.
He truly earned that title, Father of our Country. His story is a powerful reminder that with perseverance and strong leadership, even the underdog can achieve something incredible.
Well said, Ben. That's all the time we have for Colonial Chronicles Revolutionary Minds today. We hope you enjoyed learning more about George Washington.
Join us next time for more Revolutionary War insights.